Sorry about the delay there for a second. I was having an issue. I had to reset OBS, but we're all good now. Good to have everybody here. Happy Monday, everybody. Misha, good to see you in the chat. Let me see. All right. Give it a second for everyone to hop in, and then we'll get into it. Let me zoom out real quick. A lot of movement today. Not a lot of entries, but there was a lot of movement. There's a couple of spots where you almost could have gotten an entry. A couple of things that were kind of weird on my chart, so I'll show you that. We are approaching all-time high, which is this kind of magenta line up here. That's the all-time high, which we hit on Friday. And it looks like we're on our way to try to hit that today. It's interesting because we have some news this week, right? And by the way, how's the volume, everybody? Everything good? Let me know in the chat. How's the volume? For some reason my mic looks like it's coming in quiet. Give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second here. Gotta take a look. Alright. I'm just checking something with my sound settings real quick, so just bear with me a moment while I pull it up. But let me know, how is it sounding to you? Seems like my microphone turned down. I want to fix that. Let me make sure that's not too loud. Does that sound better? Does that sound better? I think that's a little bit better. I think it was coming in too loud. Or, I mean, too quiet. I just turned it up just slightly. So, does that sound better or does that sound okay? Let me know. Does that sound better or worse, I guess is a better question. Alright. Hopefully we're good. I'm going to give it a second for everyone to let me know. My volume, somehow the default setting turned down a bit, and I noticed on the side that it said that it was coming in a little bit too quiet, so I just adjusted it very slightly. Alright, sweet, sweet. Okay, so let's take a look here at the price action. We'll go through it. So we had a down channel here. Nothing too significant overall in here. You know, you have a move down, you have the close outside, new low, but really this might all just be one channel, and then close outside, some legs down. These are kind of like larger legs. If you measure it like this, they're not going to be measured move legs, but they're pretty close. I mean, I think it's off by a couple of ticks, so it's pretty much like two big legs to a new low and then a reversal in the overnight. And then it just kind of started this up channel. Now, in this up channel, we had a short-term channel close outside. It just kept running higher. So I drew a channel. Once we had this kind of consolidation, and you could, I don't have it drawn on here, but you could kind of almost look at this just like a congestion zone. And once it broke through and went higher, then I drew my channel off of this. Earlier, I don't think you want to take any trades in this. It's just too sideways and congested. So I just don't think that there's anything here. There's a second entry there. You don't want to take that. It's too congested. You're not back to any key entry area. There's no like channel. This might be a close outside new high. So you want to pause looking for a long there until you have some confirmations, which ends up happening after it breaks through and just keeps going. Now this thing just takes off. Unfortunately, there's no real trade setups here. The second entry long here happens on this engulfing bar, but not really a good setup, not a good signal bar, so you can't take it. We do get a second entry long here. I just didn't have a good enough signal bar. I refreshed my data, and I think it changed, but this was one of those ones that's on the cusp. We have an 8-tick bar, and it closes 3 ticks from its high. The problem with that is that it's one of those on the cusp style ones, right? Like, because technically is it the upper 1/3? Not really, because you're 8 ticks here. So there's not really a way to make that the upper 1/3. It's one of those funny ones because when the candle size is even like that, you know, let's say it was a 9-tick candle. Well, if it closed 3 ticks from its high as a 9-tick candle, then yes, it would be the upper 1/3. But because it's an 8-tick candle, it's one of those ones where it's not really the upper 1/3. However, we don't know for sure what it would be because we can't fractionalize ticks. So keep that in mind. Like we only can move in increments of 0.25, so we don't know for sure like what that would be if there was like a longer, you know, way to do it. So that's one of those ones that's on the cusp. You could have taken that as a yellow arrow trade, and I think it's reasonable. Just for me, it was looking a little dicey for a first trade of the day, but it is off the EMA. It's a nice setup. I guess I could mark it as a yellow. Some of you might have had a better signal bar there too, in which case, then that would, if like it closed 1 tick higher on your chart, then, you know, pretty good setup. Two-legged correction. There's a higher low, but it's not really a good signal bar, and it's kind of moved too far. Runs up, we get a double top, then it breaks through and makes a new high. Now, after this point, if you took the lower high here, I just don't think it's really like a great idea because you don't know it's a range yet. So you got to wait. And there's a first entry, pullback, second entry long, higher low, but look at this down move. You have to be aware of the fact that we have a bit of a down move. Now, it is a close outside, and we are expecting a new high, but it's sort of no man's land at this point, and it's kind of already moved up and then come all the way back to make this higher low. I just don't think it's a smart trade there. I think you want to be careful on this one because you have this kind of moving downward motion here. You might get a bigger correction. It's also starting to look like a range at that point, and you're in the middle of it. So you got to be careful. If at the time you probably would have had this drawn a little higher, and you wouldn't have known for sure. The range low wouldn't have been confirmed. So I just think you got to stay out. You got to draw the wider channel there and stay out until you know for sure what's going on. You asked, do I only take lower highs when there's still big room from the EMA? Is it the same for failed second entry long? I'm trying to understand the wording of your question. So the first question you asked is, do I only take lower highs when there's still big room from the EMA? I actually don't understand what you're asking me. What do you mean big room from the EMA? Do you mean like a lower high where you have room to get to the EMA? Or do you mean a lower high below the EMA? Please reword your question because I don't actually know what you're asking me. And then I'll try to get back to you on it. Okay. So then we come down. We get a close outside. There is a second entry short here. I did take this trade. I believe I took a screenshot of it. Let me see. I think I did. Let me see. Somewhere in here. Oh, yeah. Originally, I marked it red, and then I changed it to yellow. But I did take this trade here. You can see that. I was in that trade. I didn't get a runner. I said runner stopped. I didn't get a runner on it. It was just kind of a whatever. Basically, what I was looking at here was close outside of this down move. We're expecting a new low there. It ends up not happening. It just gives us a scalp. Easy one. So, Lucid, the first thing I said... Okay, so, yeah. So, no. That's... The EMA is, like, not... Alright, so... If I'm taking a lower high, there's a lot... It's a lot more complicated than just saying, like, oh, it's far from the EMA. How do I say this? It's all within its context, right? So, I'll take a lower high if I have a failed breakout that I like. If I have a lower high after like a second entry short and it hasn't moved far enough yet, there's a lot of different reasons. Okay, cool. That's good, Misha. There's a lot of different reasons that I'll take a trade, but the proximity to the EMA is only part of it. That's the main thing. It's only part of it. I can't really like do it justice to explain the entirety of the way that I do everything because it's all in my course, you know, like it's all broken down in there. But there's a lot of different contexts. The EMA is a minor thing. It's more so about like, do we have a break and a new extreme and now we're moving the other direction like a reversal? Are we going to make our way to a new extreme after a correction? Like there's a lot of different reasons that I look at it. And by the way, like if you want to check it all out, it's all in here in the Freedom Algo community. It's $99 a month, but you can do a 7-day free trial and you can start learning a bunch of this stuff. And then you can follow along in real time when we're doing these. Like throughout the day, I have a price action thread like this one, and I'm posting the actual chart updates the whole session. You can see it all here. So that's all before the stream happens. And then right now we go live 5 days a week. So we do Mondays and Fridays YouTube, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I do it on Zoom for the community. So everyone, that's all in there. Okay, got it. So you had a different channel. Yeah, I mean, if you took that, then that's probably pretty decent. You know, and you are expecting a new low to be made there on that lower high. So that's a decent idea. But it is risky, right? Because you're shorting the first lower high after a big up move like that. It can be risky. It can be risky. I'm glad it worked out for you, but I don't see that as a great idea. Okay. Then we move up. We get nothing really in here. Just a little up move. Close outside again. Finally, we do move down. Now, there is a triple test here. You have a 1, 2, 3 triple test with kind of a bullish bar. So basically, you have a first entry, second entry long. Then it breaks actually one tick lower and makes a triple test there. It's just that I don't like taking a triple test when each low is getting lower. Especially if I'm trying to go long. Like, I don't want to take that one. And then the higher low happens here, but it's a bearish bar. So you just don't really get anything there. There's a first entry, second entry short here with a bearish looking bar, but it's inside this channel, so I don't want to take that either. And then it just runs higher. Now we're up here, and there's a first entry, second entry long failure. It's not a good signal bar anyway. Third entry, nothing there. So just not really a ton of setups. I mean, that's just what it is today. That's what it is today. And that's okay. We have CPI tomorrow, PPI the next day, so the market might move in a kind of a little bit tighter moves. Unfortunately today, we just had some signal bar stuff or closing within channels, so that's how it goes. Okay, for failed second entry longs within the right context. Okay, with failed second entries, I only take failed second entry longs if they happen below the EMA. I don't want to, so if I take a failed second entry long, like I don't want to take one like right here, for example, that happens above the EMA when it forms. It does close below it, but I just don't like that. I want it to form and stuff below the EMA. Like, so basically, if I'm taking a failed second entry long, I want it to be below the EMA. If I'm taking a failed second entry short, I want it to be above the EMA. That is where I do use the EMA for some help, because I want to have some sort of extra confirmation for me. That's most of the time how I'm going to look at it. I say most of the time because there are nuances in what I just said, but for the most part, yeah, I want it to be on the proper side of the EMA with the direction that I'm going, if it's a failure that I'm taking. Because they're like traps, right? So what you're looking for there is like let's say this one closed a little lower, and it did form below the EMA, and then it came up and then reversed, then that'd be kind of a nicer one. So hopefully that makes sense. I think we had a good one last week. It was either Monday or Friday on YouTube, actually. I think I showed a pretty good failure example. That was like that. So maybe go back and watch I think it was on Friday. It might have been the last week on Monday, though. But I think the Friday stream had some good examples of it. It might have been Monday, though, so sorry if I'm mistaken there. It all blurs together because I'm doing 5 of these a week, so it's hard for me to remember exactly what day it was. But I know that on YouTube, I did go over one. So we're finding some resistance here, but it's not super strong, so we'll see. Do I take it when it's below the EMA but far from it? Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes if it's like within a trend that's established, then yeah, sure. All right, let's get some, you know what? We are so back. We got the incense here. The incense has returned. So we are going to get the vibes going here for a second. If you got questions, put them in the chat. I finally got my shipment from this company that I get my incense from, so we can get the little house going again. All right. There we go. We got the house going. The little house going again. Look at that. Who's got questions for me? Who's got questions for me? And Lucid, if that doesn't answer your question, just let me know. Yeah, actually, so Misha, I had that all, I talked about that this morning, right? So I showed it, right? So that's what this brown line is. That's what this brown line is. Whenever you see this brown line on my chart, I plot out, this is Friday's close. And I mentioned that in the live chat today. And that's always on my chart. I always put that on my chart when there's a gap. And that's exactly what my target was. And I think I even added some commentary about it at some point in the chat, in the Freedom Algo community. So yes, that's exactly what happened here. We had a gap down, and then we surged up and tried to fill the gap, and then we did. And now we're going towards the all-time high. So that's always good. So looks like there's not really much resistance here. We are just kind of surging through. At this point, you got to be aware, though, like, this has kind of made a close outside new high. Even if there's a wider channel here, we definitely have a close outside new high. Could we get a spike in channel? Yeah, we could. We could get, like, one of these guys where you form, like, a sort of a spike in channel. Something like this. Something like this could be in play. I don't think it's super likely, but it's possible, right? It's possible this is a spike in channel. So we'll keep an eye on it, but we don't know yet. We don't know yet. We got 3 touches, but I'm not super convinced because this could just be close outside new high and then one more leg up or something. So we'll see. But we're gonna, it looks like we're trying to go for the all-time high again. Yeah, let me see. I'm almost positive that I talked about that gap. And I don't need to look it up, but... And as always, let me pull up the calendar here. Where is it? Is it? Yeah. So as always... I meant to go over here. Calendar. You can see our schedule. We got the Freedom Collective call actually coming up this week on Thursday for people that have been in the community for over 90 days. We have our next 3 Zoom calls coming up right here. YouTube on Friday, of course. I have a new course coming out soon, NLP for trading. I made a video. The last video I made on YouTube is about this. So I have some progress here. Let me actually, You know what? Let me look real quick. Hold on. Before I show it on the screen. What I can show here. Yeah, I do have it. I do have it. Yep, yep. Just a sneak peek here. Sneak peek. This is the course. Right now I have 3 videos recorded. Got the NLP for trading overview. I got one on presuppositions and then sensory acuity and catching tilt. And then I've got a couple more lessons that I'm going to be recording this week and posting in there. So it'll be pretty cool once this is ready. I'm really looking forward to rolling this out for everybody. That's the NLP for trading course for members. It will be similar to the price action course. It's available after your trial is done. But you still will have access to all the other stuff in here when you're on your trial. But it opens up for people once they're a full member. And that's all set up. And yeah, for sure. Check it out. Again, 7-day trial. Now's going to be the time because I should be done. I was originally saying that this was going to launch late January. I think it's going to be more like mid-January because I'm almost positive. I don't want to promise it, but I will say I'm almost positive that I'll be done recording that course and launching it this week. Probably by the end of the week. My goal is to get it launched by Friday. Like by end of day Friday. I don't know if it'll be launched on Friday. Might be launched by end of day Thursday. We'll see. And then I'll make an announcement and let everybody know when it's ready. And that'll be really good stuff. So that's coming out. Just more bonus material. And again, what I say in that course is that I will be releasing more to it probably over time. But I'm going to start with it being a little bit more simple. I don't want it to be super long. So I'm trying to make it pretty concise. Just a few lessons to get you like the things that are necessary to help with your trading journey. That's the whole idea. And Lucid, yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, for sure. I love my office here. I love my office. I got my pet snake here behind me. Alice. Alice is my pet ball python. She's sleeping. Got my vibes over here. Got all my stuff. Got my incense. Got all my books. Love it. I love my office. It's a little space. I got my hand pans, which you can't see, but they're over there to my side. I got some hand pans, and I got a really nice, like, big, comfortable chair. And I just hang out over there. That's where I play hand pan, where I read books. I love my little office. I probably spend more time in here than anywhere else in my house, to be honest. Even, like, during the day, if I'm just hanging out, like, I'll just go into the office and just kind of sit in my chair. It's my spot. It's important to have a good environment. It's always important to have a good environment for trading. You know, a lot of people will talk about, oh, you can trade from anywhere, you can do this, you can do that. Yeah, you can, but you really need to set up your space. So, like, I find it actually not super easy to be just, like, traveling and trading and all that, unless my space that I'm traveling in is really good. Right now, the main book that I'm reading is this one. By Steve Andreas. It's called Transforming Yourself, Becoming Who You Want to Be. It's an NLP book. I don't recommend this for most people because it is advanced NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. That's the, like, it's a very advanced NLP book. So I don't recommend it for most people. It's not going to be something that you would just pick up and understand unless you have a background in NLP. But I'm reading it because that's what I've been studying is NLP as I've been rolling out my other business of working with people in NLP and all that sort of stuff outside of trading. It's a separate thing that I do. I do like NLP life coaching. And so I'm basically been spending most of my time doing that. Haven't really been reading any books on trading or anything recently because I've already read the ones that I like. Like I've read Trading in the Zone. I've read Biggest Loser Wins. I've read The Mental Game of Trading. The Mental Game of Trading is my favorite. I have the Al Brooks books as well, but those are just all sitting on a shelf now. Really, I've just been spending all my time learning about NLP. So that's the main thing I'm reading right now. And then the other thing that I'm always reading and always going back to is the Bible, of course. So I have the Bible. I actually have 2 of them here. That one that I just showed is what's called the Tree of Life version, Tree of Life translation, which goes from the original Hebrew. And then the other one that I have is the English standard version. The Tree of Life one is a little different. It's the Order of the Old Style. To be honest, I could not stand the Al Brooks books. I did not even finish them all the way. Like, I would read them and put them down and read them and put them down. So I think over time I've read a lot of it, but it's so hard to read. It's just, when I bought them, I thought it was going to be so great. And then I started reading them and I'm like, why did I do this to myself? So that's at least the way that I see it. And like, no, shout out to him for being a successful trader and doing it and like writing those books. Like, that's a really amazing accomplishment. And I know that there's a lot of good stuff in there, but holy, they are hard to read. I just can't do it. I've heard that his video stuff is better, but I never did it. I don't need to, because I just trade this one style, so I don't want to even learn other stuff right now with trading. The style I trade works so well that I don't want to mess with it, right? I don't want to learn a bunch of other stuff. It's just kind of like stick with what works. And so for me, the NLP stuff has helped my trading, because it's all about mindset, how I map reality, and it actually goes way deeper than trading psychology. So I really love it. But also, I have a background in a lot of things. I'm just not somebody who can just do one thing only. Like, I've been an entrepreneur. Built companies. I've built companies. I've sold a company. You know, I trade. But trading only occupies a small amount of my time, because I just trade a little bit in the morning and then I do my stream and then I'm done. So I have all this extra time in the day to do other stuff. Lately, it's been a lot of snowboarding. But then also I've been working on NLP, and that's been my main passion, is really learning NLP. Career passion, that is. Of course, snowboarding, working out, and all that is always part of my life, but yeah. But hey, I didn't mean to talk so much about myself here. I'm like not even talking about the chart. So we have a possible spike in channel that is running here. And let's just draw this little channel down. We have a possible tight channel here. I'm going to wait for this third bar to close so I can draw my my channel. I like to have 3 bars when I draw a trend line. So I'm going to wait at least 3 bars. So I'm just getting it set up. And I teach this in the course, how I have these setups to make it anchor and then move and all that. If anybody has any other questions, drop them in. Yeah, I climb a little bit. I'm not super heavy into it, but I do have like a bouldering crash pad, and I go out bouldering sometimes. The climbing gym is really far away from me, so I don't want to like, it's a pain in the butt, to be honest. Like, I don't want to have to drive like 45 minutes to go to the climbing gym, but that's how far it is from me. So in the summertime, sometimes I go bouldering locally. It's closer than that, and I'll do that. And I have climbed like rope in climbing with people that are into that, but I just don't want to, it's not my thing overall. Like, I do like it. I like bouldering a little more. It feels more chill, but I do like climbing. I do like climbing overall. Like, I think it's a lot of fun. I think you're talking about rock climbing, right? I think that's what you meant. But yeah, I do like rock climbing. Gives me good grip strength. I do it a little bit. I'm not like a super avid climber. I'm not super good at it. I'll be totally honest with you. Like, with bouldering, I've gotten up to like the V5 level. But like, that's it. Like, I'm not doing like anything above V5. That's about as far as I go with bouldering, because I'm just not consistent enough to get as good. But I used to go a lot when I used to live in a city, because I had a bouldering gym, and that was how I got up to being able to do V5. I'm a little rusty now probably, but I'll still go out in the summertime when the weather's nice, and I'll go out and climb a little bit. There's a really great spot here. Yeah, there's a really great spot here for rope in climbing that's near where I live. There's this big rock in the woods that's like super tall that I go with people to sometimes. But I'm not like the guy who sets up the route. Like, it's like sport climbing, and I'm not the guy like setting it all up. I wait till they set it up, and then basically I'll just like top rope it. Maybe I'll clean it on the way down, but I don't do it very often. It's like I've done it a handful of times. I'm not like an expert. I do climb in another way. I do what's called split boarding, where I separate my snowboard into a split board. I have a split board, and then I hike up the mountain to really like back or side country areas or areas that the lifts don't go to. And then I hike way up the mountain, and then I clip it in and ride down. So I do that type of climbing as well. That's interesting. You said you feel like true climbing and trading have a similar mindset. How so? Curious how so? I don't know if I see the analogy. I guess I could see like, well, one, it's really difficult. Two, it's incremental. You become good over a long, long period of time. So I'd say that that's relevant. Same thing with martial arts. Like I did Muay Thai. It takes a long time to be good at Muay Thai, right? Any sort of martial arts takes a long time to be good at. But you just keep at it. It's repetition. It's like any other skill. Like it takes a lot of practice, a lot of repetition. It's incremental gains. It's painful. It's hard. There's a mindset thing that you have to do to get through the thresholds. Even learning snowboarding is like that for me. Like I didn't really learn snowboarding until I was in my 30s. So, it wasn't like a skill that I had from when I was a child. I went a few times when I was like a teenager, or like when I was like I think when I was like around like 19, 20 years old, I went like once or twice, but I didn't really learn it until I was in my 30s. And I bought a pass and went consistently. And it was hard to get good at snowboarding, especially learning later in life, not having all that muscle memory. It's incremental, and I get better every time I go. And it's like amazing when I think about how I am now at it versus how I used to be when I started just several years ago. So it's the same idea. I think trading's like any other skill that takes a long time to get good at, and you never truly master it. You can almost master it, but it's like any skill. Like you can't really master snowboarding. You can become what people think of as a master, but it's something you're always getting better at. Yeah, I think so. I think that that's true with climbing. If you're not really in the zone while you're climbing, you're just going to have a bad time. It's really hard. You got to lock in. There's high consequence too for some of it. Same with snowboarding. Same idea, I think. The difference though with trading is that with trading, your mind is working against you a lot of the time because everything feels like there's all these natural inclinations we have to avoid pain and fear and all this other stuff that comes up while you're trading that's different than anything else. Because like with like snowboarding or climbing, there's an adrenaline component that's a little different to like push you through because it's like a physical activity. With trading, it's not as physical, but you're getting the physical response while having to like make sure that you don't mentally do something ridiculous. So that's the thing with like climbing or snowboarding. If you do something ridiculous, there's a high physical consequence. Trading, that's not the case. You can do something ridiculous like double your position size for no reason or for some ridiculous reason, and there's no physical consequence. So that's the thing. That's the difference, right? Yeah, common sense is not really something that helps you that much with trading. It's true. I think it's kind of true with like a lot of stuff, like snowboarding or even climbing. Like the common sense isn't exactly what does it, because common sense tells you, yeah, I shouldn't climb that huge rock, or I shouldn't go off this big jump, or I shouldn't drop into this canyon. Common sense tells you not to do that stuff, and you just kind of have to do it anyway. Trading has that in common with those, but the physical consequence is a different thing, because trading just has a mental consequence, not a physical one. And that can derail you because you're not really seeing what the outcome is going to be necessarily. Like you can visualize, oh, this is going to suck if I do this and then I have a huge hit on my account. But that's different than like, this is going to suck if I hurt myself, right? Like it's different. It's a different feel. It's actually different. The physical consequence is different than the mental. So that is a distinction that I'll draw. And here we go. I don't know that the spike in channel is going to work here. As you can see, we are breaking below. This might have just been the two legs. We got the new high and we could be reversing. So I'm not really like putting much weight into this now. I'm just going to let this thing roll and see where it lands. We can start to get ready for a channel down on the lower high. Now we could get a first entry, second entry, but now it's broken below. I don't believe here. I'll put this on here. I'll put a blue line on there from where it was. Is it possible that we get a wider spiking channel? Yeah, it's kind of janky. I don't love that. Maybe, but at this point it's too risky to take a long here. If anybody has any questions, drop them in. I'm going to have to jet here soon, but drop them in. I'll be right back. I got to check on something. I'll be right back. I just got back. KP, my man. Oh, man. Well, listen, here's what I'm going to say. When you're doing any sort of deep work, NLP is all right. So NLP is no different, right? Let's say you're doing NLP work and you're trying to work on, your mindset and changing your map of reality and all this stuff. Remember, there's a lot going on, right, in how we've structured our experiences and reality. There's a lot happening in there. Okay, so let me draw this back on. There's a lot happening. By the way, this is possible. I don't love that, but that might be the confirmation of the spike in channel. That might be. I don't love having to move it, but that could be a 1, 2, 3 touch. So let's just let that roll. That is a second entry long. I think it's risky to take a trade there. But anyway, KP. So remember, when you're working on yourself in, let's say, an NLP, I know that like we had worked on using the swish to try to change the compulsion to move stop loss, right? But there's a lot of other things that we talked about. There's a decision strategy, right? How we make decisions is actually a strategy that is brought on by our experience. So there's what's called decision strategies. And decision strategies and motivation strategies as well, NLP concept on how we make actual decisions to do things. Well, we talked about this on the call too. Like there's things around, and I won't go into too much, but there's a lot of things around how we make decisions. There's a lot of work that needs to go into that, because if you're making decisions a certain way and it's not working for you, that's something that takes time to shift, to work on new strategies. If you have certain habits that you're doing while trading, they sort of each need to be addressed on their own. If there's identity stuff, like there's so many things in NLP that need to be worked on with things. That's why, like, when I work with people most of the time, yes, I can do a single session, of course, but typically when I work with people in NLP, it's advisable to do more than one session. It's advisable to commit to something more like 8 sessions, right? If you plan to do like something like 8 sessions, you're going to have a much higher likelihood of having a transformation on all these different aspects. Because yes, we can transform one thing. Like, for example, there's a thing with like phobias, right? If someone says to me, hey, I have this like phobia, and like, let's say the phobia is something simple, like I'm scared of snakes, right? I'm not personally, I have one, but let's say someone's scared of snakes. That's a phobia that can actually be addressed. especially if it's not related to like, you know, too much traumatic response and all this other stuff. Now, there are certain phobias that are more complicated, but for more simple phobias, like being scared of spiders or being scared of snakes or being scared of thunder or stuff like that, a lot of times those can actually be addressed in a single NLP session and dealt with. Or if somebody has like a very simple issue, like we can create an anchor, we can do a switch pattern. There's different things that can address things in a single session for sure. But full on like transformation and completely like reprogramming and all that, when there's a lot of other variables and a lot of experiences and a lot of things, they typically are going to take more sessions because you got to address them in pieces. So I want to keep that, I want to bring that up too. But that's why I typically have things structured like, okay, committing to something like, all right, I'm going to do like 8 sessions as my commitment. That's usually the thing that works best for people. But the cool thing with NLP is that's still not even that much. Like when people go into like, oh, I'm going to do therapy and work with a therapist to do something, sometimes they're doing it for literally years, like weekly or bi-weekly sessions for years. That's just, you know, I don't see that as definitely necessary if you're just doing the NLP transformation stuff. With life coaching, it's a little different. Some people want to have that person to coach them in certain ways, and those can be longer term relationships and whatnot. It just depends on what people are looking for. But, you know, when it comes to like reprogramming your brain, keep in mind, you've been doing things a certain way for a long time. And there's probably a lot going on in that, right? There might be a little bit of one of these guys forming here. Something like, I would start with a little wider. Something like this. Kind of a shallow channel. And we'll wait and see how it goes. This was a possibility, but it doesn't look like it's going to play out that way. All right, anybody have any more questions? If anybody wants to learn more, again, last time I'll bring it up. Check out the chat, check out the description. The school community is there. You can get a free trial for 7 days. And it's all there. This is just my music that we're listening to under my name. I'm going to close out of it, though, because I'm going to wrap up here. If anybody has any final questions or any thoughts, let me know. KP, I hope you had a good start to your Monday. Everybody else, I hope you had a great start to your Monday, too. Hope everybody had a good trading day. Thanks for hanging out with me on this Monday. I'll get the streams that's going to be set up for Friday scheduled. And then other than that, everybody else that wants to be on the stream, I will be streaming tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday on Zoom in the school community. And then also on Thursday, we have our Freedom Collective call. So that's always fun. So I will see you all soon. Yeah, for sure. Thanks for being here, Lucid. Good to have you again, as always. And I will talk to everybody soon. Thanks, everybody.